Okay, then, to our next story. You know, to be ranked amongst the easiest of places to do business means the usual red tapeism and bureaucratic bottlenecks are absent and the coast is clear. We can tell you, based on the 2025 PEBEC Subnational Ease of Doing Business report, Lagos has come first, Oyo third, and Ogun State fifth. They are amongst the top 10 best performing states in Nigeria. They are tops in regulatory reforms, digital transformation, and infrastructure. Other states, we must tell you, include the FCT, Kaduna, Enugu, Plateau, Ekiti, Kano, and Nasarawa. What more can an investor want?
Yes. Every time you will see our governors, people from the presidency, traveling all over the world looking for investors. But the enabling environment is extremely important for you to attract investors, because these investors are not Father Christmas. It's not as if they love your country. They want to come and invest their handy money because they want returns on investment.
On investment, yeah.
So if you don't create that enabling environment, you will make it difficult for them to invest. I am not surprised that Lagos is first in ease of doing business. And it has to do with what we discussed earlier when we said that, oh, the president is father of modern Lagos.
Okay.
Because when he came in, he introduced, like I said, Oracle to Lagos State environment. So everything was digitalized and computerized. So when you do that, you eliminate that frustration of carrying a file from one table to another, which is very frustrating. So it takes, when you want to do something, or you want to get approval for your land, or you want to get approval for your building plan, it takes forever before. Now, because of computerization, it's easy for you to get those things. You have bypassed that frustration because one of the things that frustrate people is that when you move a file from one, within that shade, the file can disappear. You will need to bribe people to be able to get those things done. You will need to know one person or the other for you to get things done. When you eliminate that and you computerize things and everything is digital, you don't even need to know anybody there. You don't need to know anybody to get approval. You don't need anybody to be able to do things that you want to do or the investment that you want to make.
Is clear.
Because everything has been done in a way that it makes it easy for you to do. So, and it is the ease of business determines how you can attract investors. Like I said, no matter how you appeal to them to say, oh, our doors are open, come and do business with us. If the ease of doing business is not there, they will not come, because they not only want to come and invest, they want to be sure of that investment. They want to be sure that that investment is safe. They want to be sure that they are going to have returns on investment. So these 10 states that be able to modernize the ease of doing business in their states, I want to commend them. And I want to also appeal to the other states to learn from that, because states should not just depend on federal allocations. What you generate within your state goes a long way to develop that state. And one of the things that will help you to be able to increase your internal generated revenue is the ease of doing business in that state.
Well, so the story is getting sweeter.
Yeah. I think state governors have responsibility to create an enabling environment for investors to be able to come in. And when we are talking about investment, we are not just talking about foreign investment. We are also talking about local investment. In what ways can you encourage SMEs? And what we have seen is that in these states that I mentioned, at least the first 10, they are putting a lot of investment into a lot of loans, a lot of grants to small-scale businesses. You know, the Lagos State ran, I think the Lagos State Trust Fund at the time. You know, I know somebody who was a printer at Chimolu, and he got a loan of 5 million naira then. and then he bought a machine from China. That is what himself and his family lives on now, a printing machine from China. Without that loan from the Lagos State government, there was no way we would have been able to get such, investment, that kind of thing. So the state governments need to have a very creative method of inviting investors and also realizing the potential in their country and then putting money into it. Look at Oyo State.
Yeah.
Oyo State has investment and promotion agency. Ekiti State has Ekiti State Development and Investment Promotion Board. A lot of states don't have what you are talking about. It means you are putting down a team of experts, to think, put down their thinking cap to see how we can. And in some states that we have mentioned in Ogun, they have reduced land, to about 40%. If you want to buy land, it has gone down to about 40%. So it means that you can easily buy. Then digital services. Dangote had wanted to invest in Ondo State. But yes.
He had wanted Ondo and Ogun.
Yes. But
because they frustrated, that's why I came to Lagos.
He had to come to Lagos. And you imagine what Ondo they had lost. I remember. And
Ogun actually is more than Ogun than Ondo.
So he was compelled to come to Lagos. So look at what Lagos is benefiting from that. So if you don't have a government, because some government officials wanted to also be part owners, they wanted to be shareholders. So they are thinking about themselves, not thinking about the people.
Which was the problem?
Yeah. So the government needs to create an enabling environment in terms of security, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of having a team of experts that will actually look at the Ekiti State governor. He has been going to meet the Chinese, talk to them, talk to the a lot of people in Asia, bring them to Ekiti State to say, look, come and invest there. So it's something that governors need to do consciously. Don't just wait and think investors will come and meet you.
Mayor, the other time, former governor, was the governor who came after Fashola? Ambode had a rapport with Kebbi. They produced the lake rice.
They still do.
Okay. Recently, Niger State governor has offered Lagos State government over 100 hectares because it knows that the government can make a good use of it. That's what we are talking about.
Yes, because during the time of Ambode that you mentioned, there was this collaboration. Lagos State has the population, but they don't have the land.
Okay.
So Kebbi was able to, they have the land and the know-how to be able to produce rice in large quantities. So there was that rapport and partnership. And Lagos State now established the biggest rice mill in the whole of Africa, in Imota.
Yeah.
So, and that's why they do lake rice from. So it is a symbiotic relationship that everybody concentrating where they have comparative advantage. And it is those kind of things, business, that we need to do more. Because if you have land, you should be able to leverage on that land. What are the other things? If somebody has the know-how or the resources or the market, you can collaborate, and then it will be beneficial to everybody. So that's a good thing.
For instance, Wale, that it's sickening to hear that Nigeria, this same Nigeria, is importing palm oil from Malaysia.
Importing everything, of course. Of course.
So why did we drop the ball?
It's lack of.
Can't we pick up the ball again?
I think it has to do with oil.
It starts to do it, and also lack of vision, because when we have had a culture. If there is no culture, we can say but there's a culture of, palm oil
plantation.
Palm oil at that time came from today's Akwa Ibom and Cross River.
Yes. But I'm happy that in Delta State, they met some experts from Malaysia, and then the investment is going on now. In the next 5-6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, they set up cooperatives in each local government. They gave them a piece of land, and then they came from Malaysia, and they are working in Delta State to ensure that the state goes back to palm oil production.
Oh, yeah.
So I believe in the next 5 years, we'll be able to see the result.
The story will be different.
Yes, but those Malaysians went to one of the southwest states here, but the government official did not give them attention. So that's part of the problems we are saying, that creating an enabling environment. Because when you meet when investors come to your state and the officials are thinking about what comes to their pocket first, the investors will be discouraged.
We'll be scared.
They'll be scared. So Delta State now, in fact, that is it involved almost about 10,000 farmers. They just started about 2 years ago, and in the next 5 years, Nigerians will see the impact of what they're talking
All right.
about.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
I wanted to say that we dropped the ball because of oil.
crude oil.
Crude oil. When we were doing all those things, we were operating regions at that time.
Okay.
So in Southwest it was cocoa, in the East basically it was palm oil, in the North it was cotton and all that.
Groundnut.
And granules, and people were working on that. So most of the income came from agriculture. But when oil came and the oil boom came,
We looked
you
the other
understand? We looked the other way and forgot about agriculture, and we dropped the ball. And those who came here to get the seedlings and have been serious about it, they are the biggest producers of palm oil now.
Kai. Okay. And nature will not forgive you if you mess around with what it gives you.
Yeah.
Nature gives you,
Yeah.
and you are not.
Nobody will wait for you. If
Nature gives
you don't use
abundance of wealth. It's not left for you
if
to
you don't
use
make
your
use of
creative
what you
mind
have.
Harness it.
to harness the.
Yes.
Okay, folks, time to take a break now. We'll take a breather from what you're watching. This is a journalist hangout on a Palm Sunday. We should be back shortly. Please wait.